Welcome. You're tuned into Life is a Sacred Journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal'S Pope.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. My name is Micheal'S Pope, and I am the host of Life is a Sacred Journey. I am looking at my phone here because I'm sure all my friends are sound asleep out there in the virtual neighborhood. I'm hoping that's not true. I'm hoping that you all are alive and well. So if you're out there, let me know that you're awake and watching us. And if not, later on, I'd love to hear in the chat how you're doing and how your Thanksgiving was. I'm still grooming and cropping here. Well, yesterday for me was an incredible day. You know, Thanksgiving is one of those days that I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with because it seems like we get busy making it happen and sometimes don't enjoy it. But over the last, I think 3 or 4 years, 5 years, if not longer, I've been able to not be the one doing the primary cooking and I've been able just to go and have Thanksgiving at my son's house and with he and his wife and family and folks around. And yesterday was really special because my granddaughter is, walking and beginning to talk and just live in the world. So that was really cool to watch her navigate all of her family around her. I think she got a little overwhelmed and overstimulated, but she had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and so did I. And I pray that you all did as well. Um, Here at Life is a Sacred Journey, one of the things that we do is ponder things. I love pondering life and pondering what life is all about and how I'm experiencing life in my life, and I always find that interesting and fun to do. And I am now in a time in my life where I'm going through a big change. It was, every time I talk to somebody and they know about what's happening here in my life and with my career, they mention it to me, and rightfully so, because I've done this for a really long time. It'll be over 27 years in January. And the impact of that. So, Felicia and I are going to get together and talk about life as a sacred journey and what's going to happen. And one of the things that I thought about over the weekend is that my hands have kind of been tied in some ways because of life as a sacred journey was something we started to support Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, and my hands have been somewhat tied because I've had to be mindful of the audience, that it wasn't just an audience that I was speaking to as it related to just things that I'm observing in life. But it was also a group of people that were affiliated to Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. But going forward, that's not going to be. And so that to me is in some ways an opportunity for Felicia and I to think of new and exciting things to do. Not that we wouldn't have done that, but our focus has been primarily, around, and it will continue to be, to give caregiver tips and to help caregivers, to help those living with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. But it's time now to spread our wings and look at things that have to do with just, I really am into this whole idea of aging and ageism and how we navigate that. And so we'll think of something because we've got to pick a focus, right? We got to stay in a lane, but we will continue to. Life is a Sacred Journey is not going away. It's going to get better and better and better and better, as it has under the tutelage of some of you out there, as well as with Felicia's fine-tuned hand. And so don't go away. I think we will take some time off from December 13th through the end of the year. We may, I'm not sure yet. We're going to have to talk about it, and I have to meditate on it and see if that's where I'm being led. Um, um, Right now, that's what I'm feeling, but I'm not sure. So I want to hear from you. Like, do you want Life is a Sacred Journey to continue? Does it matter if we continue? So, those of you that are out there that, are our faithful followers, I need to hear from you. Take some time to write in the chat. Not this morning, because I'm sure there's not many of you live with us this morning, but whenever you see this particular podcast, let us know what it is that you want us to do, because it's okay if we have to sunset. It really, really is. I'm learning that sunsets are magnificent, and some things have to come to a place where they end. But that said, if you all are very interested in us continuing and morphing and being on this sacred journey with us, it would be my honor to continue. But I just don't want to do it just because. That said, let's get into another Life is a Sacred Journey pondering. I pray that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and that you were surrounded by love and people that you care about and care about you. I think that's one of the most important things of the holidays. Tomorrow I'm going to Concord United Methodist Church at 10 o'clock to hang the greens. And if you don't know what that is, that's where you decorate the Christmas trees in the on the campus. It's called the Hanging of the Greens. So look it up, and we're going to be decorating and doing different things. And I'm looking forward to that. I might even walk to the church. It's been a while since I've done that, but I may take a walk over there. Yesterday I got up and took the walk up to the grocery store because of all things that I had forgotten was aluminum foil. Like, who does Thanksgiving without aluminum foil? So I had to go get some aluminum foil. But this morning, I'm going to share two things with you. For almost my entire time as the CEO here at Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay, this quote has been somewhere in my office where I can look at it. And those of you who know me well know that I love labyrinths. I love them, love them, love them. I've gone and searched them out in California and walked them and meditated. One of my favorite ones is at the Mercy Center up in Auburn, California, and it's just the most beautiful labyrinth, and the community is beautiful, and the sisters up there are amazing, and it's a retreat center, so and as well as a place where sisters are living. I don't know the order. I can't remember the order. I don't know if I've ever known the order because it really hasn't mattered to me. And so I haven't looked it up or anything. I just been there for many, many retreats. And so the Mercy Center in Auburn, California has a beautiful labyrinth. Something just popped up on my screen. I need to get rid of it. So think about, labyrinths for a moment, what a labyrinth looks like and how they're made. There's people who, I know a woman in the California area who has one on in her front yard that they put together, and she sent me pictures of it. It's absolutely beautiful because she knows I love labyrinths. So everywhere I go, I try to find a labyrinth and walk it, meditate, think about something. So I was just at the Mercy Center in Auburn about 2 weeks ago now. And so this change and sudden setting of my journey here was something that I was contemplating and thinking a lot about. But I want you to hear this. This is a quote from Professor Michael Curry. And the quote reads, "What's the difference between a labyrinth and a maze?" So I'm going to ask you that. What's the difference between a labyrinth and a maze? And his response is, you go into a maze to lose yourself. and you go into a labyrinth to find yourself. And I think that's so true. Um, that I've been able to go into labyrinth, uh, and walk labyrinth when I've been in spaces where I've wanted to find myself or contemplate an idea, contemplate an understanding of something that may be happening, get some wisdom, get silent, be quiet, all of those things. But a labyrinth also allows you the capability to become one with whatever's going on around you. And most of the labyrinth that I've had the privilege of being in are walking, are amazingly in places that have multiple trees. It may not be a forest, but it's in a tree-like environment. It's off the beaten path. And they allow you just to meditate and to focus. And so I love that quote, because what's the difference between a labyrinth and a maze? You go into a maze to lose yourself, and you go into a labyrinth to find yourself. And that's, again, Professor Michael Curry. So those kinds of things are, help me to navigate this world. And I ponder those things because I'm always trying to figure out a better way to be a better person. And I believe it starts inside of us. I don't think that you can do it without self contemplation and letting something go, repenting even. I'm going to use a term that maybe some people, I don't want to offend you, but it's acknowledging your mistakes, acknowledging the damage that you have done. I've had to do that. I've had to acknowledge as a human being from the very beginning of my understanding of who I was and my adulthood, my true adulthood, that I realized I have hurt people. I have hurt, and been hurt, both. It's back and forth, but it's the letting go of the hurt. At first, one, getting a place where you can acknowledge it, that you're responsible for it, and then letting it go, because carrying it then becomes baggage that is too heavy to carry. And sometimes there are people that you have hurt that you can never truly say you're sorry to, face to face, because maybe they've passed away or they're no longer in your geographic location. You've lost contact with them, whatever that situation may be. But there's another book that I was reading this weekend, and it's Joy, the book The Joy by Desmond Tutu, and I can't remember. I'm looking over there at my bookcase to see if it's here, but I've taken it home. And it's you can write in the chat to tell people who the other author. It's just Desmond Tutu. Oh, and the Dalai Lama having a conversation about joy. And one of those things is about forgiveness, that you can find joy in forgiving others, but you also have to forgive yourself, because we're human. And sometimes people will keep you in that space where you feel like you're not worthy to be forgiven, and so therefore you never forgive yourself for stuff. And then what happens again? More baggage, more problems for yourself as you age and as you grow as a human being. We all make mistakes, and we're going to make them until the day we're no longer breathing on this planet. So just know that. But acknowledging it and knowing that it happened, asking for forgiveness if it's possible, and if it's not possible, then asking for forgiveness. I read something actually yesterday, while the turkey was cooking and we had some downtime. All of us picked up our phones. Yeah, we did that. That was one of them. And I'll tell you about a website that one of my family members introduced me to, app actually that you can put on your phone, that I thought was pretty amazing. But yeah, I was reading and I was looking through stuff, and it was talking about gratitude and Thanksgiving and all of this. And one of those readings was about, sometimes you have to write a letter maybe to ask that person for forgiveness, because maybe you don't have the, maybe it doesn't feel good to be in the presence of that person. Ask for forgiveness that way. You can ask for forgiveness just by saying it out loud and putting it into the stratosphere. And maybe that person's not in the room and maybe they will never hear it, but you saying it and releasing and understanding that the sound of the words that you use for forgiveness helps you to open up your heart and helps you to breathe and helps you to know that you're trying to make it right, and then move on. I mean, and that's the hardest part, right? That's the hardest part, moving on and understanding there's really nothing more you can do if you have. I mean, that's AA teaches that, all of the rehab folks teach that. It's like you do your best, ask for forgiveness, receive forgiveness for yourself, and move on. Because if you don't, it is the very thing that drags you down into these dark and crazy places. And then people who hold grudges, that's, there's nothing you can do about that. They're going to hold that grudge. And the other beautiful quote that I know you all have heard, you cannot change anybody else. You can only change yourself. So, think about that. And then the other thing that I've of course been thinking about, oh man, what is my mission? What am I going to be doing in the next, I hope, 40 years of my life, right? 30, 40 years of my life. I'm like, what is that going to look like? And am I going to live that long? And yes, people are living to be 100, but are you going to become a burden to your family? Are you going to lose your mind more than you've already lost it? What is it going to be like? This kind of like trying to, go into the future and trying to figure that all out and vision that. Well, guess what? I don't have the ability to see the future. I finally realized that. I don't have the ability to see the future, and not many people do. I don't, probably nobody, but I'm going to say not many people do. And but you can see now, every moment that you wake up, every moment that you step one foot in front of the other and you take that wonderful deep breath, you can see that. You can see that moment. The other night, I was on Wednesday night, I was online with a friend, Leanne, and we were just talking about life and Thanksgiving and some of our griefs, and just talking and sharing and being and living in the moment, living in the moment. And because the future is not promised to any of us, and we don't know how we're going to be in the future. We might not even live to see the future. I kid and joke because I want to embrace the fact that that I could possibly live to be 100 and something. I just want to embrace that. I think that that's fabulous, and there's so many people that are doing it now that are giving me the courage to even think that it's possible, right? Even in my own family. So I have this book called One. It is an amazing book. It was put together back in the day when Starbucks first opened up, like in whenever year that was. I'm not gonna, I don't even remember. But they were, Starbucks had a lot of cool stuff that you could buy at that point outside of coffee. And they had this book called One, ONE, One. And in it, there was a quote. I actually brought it in this morning because I wanted to read this to you. Here is the test to find whether or not your mission on earth is finished. If you are alive, it isn't. And that's by a quote from Richard Bach. So I was like, yeah, I'm still here. So whatever the mission is, I haven't completed it yet. And so it's about finding that mission. It's about living into that purpose, doing what one loves. Because this is what I have found out. When you're doing something you love, you are amazing at it. You are amazing at it. Nobody has to write scripts for you. You don't need anything to get you to the point where you're out there in the world trying to figure it out. When you're doing something you love, you are amazing at it. You find the tools, you begin to be the tools, and it has nothing to do with age. Okay? It has nothing to do with age. This is something that has hurt our society, that we spend so much time thinking about age, and you know what? From the very moment you are a seed in your mother's womb, growing, you are aging. Time is passing. You have to age out of that 9-month period in order to be born. You have to age through your childhood and your adolescence and your teenage years and your young adult years, which I actually now believe are the hardest years to get through, because somebody's always guiding you along those other years. You have parents and grandparents and teachers and mentors and coaches and people, and then all of a sudden you're thrust into the world and you are a young adult. And you want to be on your own because you're just like I want to be on my own. I know this, I got this, ooh, do. And it's really when you realize you don't have it. As a young adult, that's what I realized more than anything else, is that I didn't have it and I hadn't arrived yet. And because I thought I had arrived, then it was much harder sometimes to get through these moments that if I had just said to a mentor, a friend, my parents, I need help, they would have been there for me. But because I wanted to do it on my own, I fell, and I fell hard. So, yeah. So if you're a young adult, because I know I have some young adults that come and follow Life is a Sacred Journey, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I don't have this yet. It's okay to say, I don't know what is this thing going on in the world, in this life crap. It's okay. Go to somebody that you trust and that you honor, and let them be a wisdom giver or a sage for you, because that's a part of the aging process that I realize that's important, that I enjoy having young adults in my life, because they ask me these incredible questions that help me to grow and think and all of that. And then when I respond, I think I sometimes give them a little bit of something, something from my existence on this planet. Because the good news is that I've been down, down, down in the dark, 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 and I've been middle of the road. And then I'm trying to live into this positive light, gratitude space, love space, trusting in something bigger than myself space. And so, you out there that think that your life is over, you have a lot to share. So share. Get into the mood of, and not sharing it like it's the gospel. It's like the end all be all. Yeah, this is it. This is the truth. No, share it like it's something that you're giving as a gift from your experience. This is the one thing that I've learned when I'm speaking with my young adults friends. I always preface by, this is my experience. Your experience might be different, but please allow me to share. Boom. No problem. But I'm not saying to them, go and do and be and nope, you can't do that, because you are unique, they are unique. What we do is just share our life experience. We share our stories, and then they can decide whether they want it to be a part of their story or not. It's not about forcing your opinion and your life and your all down on. Nobody wants that, nobody wants that. So definitely keep it like, okay, I'm just sharing with you because this resonates with me. That's what I said to somebody actually the day before yesterday, a young woman in my life who I love and adore. I said, this, what you're telling me is resonating with me, because I've had that experience, but this is how I experienced it. This is how I moved through it, not this is what you should do. That's the word, that's the kiss of death to any relationship I have found. It's the kiss of death. If you start telling people what to do and how to do it because you think you know better and dippy, nobody cares. And at the end of the day, when I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, it's my experience. And we have to allow people to have their experience and just be a part of the story in a gentle, kind, and sometimes silent way. And then you can see relationships grow, and then we'll stop fighting this intergenerational stuff. I'm so sick of hearing young people do this, old people do that. Oh, we have to make space for each other in and I've been a part of that. You know, everything I talk about, I've been a part of it at some point in my existence, because the good news is I've acknowledged that I'm not perfect. I have acknowledged it. I live it. I embrace it. I breathe it. I am not perfect. But what I do know is that every time I acknowledge a weakness, a challenge, a fault, or something that I find as a fault in myself, I learn to say, wait a minute, though. Let's flip the script a little bit. It is who you are. Now, how do you make it so that it does no damage to yourself any longer and no damage to another person? That's what this is all about. Nobody gives, I can't say that word yet. Maybe in 2025, I'll say that word. Nobody cares that, about all that other stuff. And the people who do are the naysayers of the world that judge everybody and everything. And you're never going to change them anyway. And you just have to kill them with kindness and keep it moving, because it'll kill you. That's the bottom line. It'll kill you. Because research is showing, out of everything that we do, stress is like taking multiple years off of our lives. And that's why I'm not telling you I'm not sad. I'm not telling you that I haven't been contemplating what is about to happen in my life, with a little bit of fear. Tiny. It was a big fear. Ooh, big fear. And then it's starting to get smaller and smaller. I might hold on to a tiny grain of it just because that's who I am. But it's time to move on. And it's time to move on in so many ways in life, so that you can experience it. A part of it is experiencing it and enjoying it. Just like when I went back to New York a couple of weeks ago. Now it's more than that. It's more than a couple of weeks. It's probably about a month. I realized I hadn't been there in so long. I almost felt like a stranger to the city that I love. The one city that I love more than any other city. I love Chicago. I love different places because I love cities. I love urban areas. But New York is my favorite place. And I was like feeling like, okay, I don't even know where I am. Boop, boop, boop. Girlfriend, get your bearings. And you know what was exciting? Is that I took and I wasn't alone. I had some new friends with me. I took the bus from Teaneck, New Jersey, because everything connects there. And Teaneck is just over the bridge, the George Washington Bridge, to the city. And so we took the bus over to Port Authority. Got off in Port Authority. Well, it's a maze. If anybody's been at Port Authority, it is a maze upon maze upon maze, and hallways and walkways, and depending on what door you go out of is which way you're facing when you're in the city. And we got off at Port Authority, and we kind of like, okay, where do we want to go? And our goal was to go, any of you that follow me on Facebook, was to go to the Empire State Building. Now, how many times have I been on? I went 2 times to the Empire State Building prior to this moment, because I have a terrible fear of heights. Anybody who knows me knows I don't like standing up on nothing and leaning down looking. That ain't Michelle Pope. But I decided to be courageous, because I went to New York knowing that this moment that's happening here at ASAP was going to happen. I felt it in my heart. I felt it. I just felt it. It was just, I just felt it. And I thought, this is a time to be courageous. You got to be courageous. You're going to learn to be courageous. You got to be courageous. So being courageous, yes, I fly. Okay, yes, that's not the kind of that I've gotten over that a little bit, because I figure if I'm gonna die in a plane crash, then whatever, it's gonna be instantaneous. So I'm not gonna worry about it. But standing, and it's like a vertigo kind of thing, even though I don't experience that, but it's kind of a weird feeling that I get. Okay, so I was like, we're gonna overcome that. We're gonna make that happen. And when my new friends, said, let's go to the Empire, I was like, I'm down. So we come out of Port Authority, and I'm like, okay, where are we? And I was like, okay. So we go up, 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 and I'm like, I think we're going in the wrong direction. So, and then the cell phone wasn't working to navigate us, and I kind of know better than to look like a tourist in New York City. You just don't do that. You got to look like you know what you're doing and where you're going. But instinct is an incredible thing. It takes over if you allow it to. And I was like, no, this is not right. And I think we need to go this way. And we came back out of that little street after we saw some cool stuff and some not so cool stuff. And we went up, up, up. And the next thing we knew, we looked over to the left, and I said, there it is, the Empire State Building. And it was the most incredible experience to be able to allow my instincts to guide us. And my one of my colleagues, her phone was working better. And you know what happened? I'm gonna tell you how the universe works. My phone went dead. I didn't have enough battery life in it. I didn't charge it before we left. So instinct took over. We went to the first level of the Empire State Building. I was like, oh, this is kind of good. This is kind of groovy. But I'm freaking out. But there's a woman there that when you come off of the elevator, they have on these wonderful outfits that they wear. Almost, well, they're replicas of the outfit with when the Empire State Building opened. And so we get off the elevator, and she said, hey, ladies, because we were laughing and hucking it up. And she said, where are you all from? So they said where they were from. And I said, well, I'm from California. And she said, no, you're not. I was like, okay, lady, yeah, I am. I flew from California to here. She said, no, you got an East Coast vibe. She said, have you ever lived here? I said, yes, I have. And I was raised on the East Coast. And she said, okay. She said, all right. So she could tell. And I was like cracking up. I was cracking up. So that hyped me up a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. Because I did live there, right? Okay. So then the next level, they said, we want to go to the next level. So that's the one where you can go outside. They have it, a fenced in thing so that you can see. And it was nighttime. So we get up to the next level, and they have music playing up there. Man was playing a guitar, which I'm learning how to play. And the fear just went. I looked out at that city, all lit up, seeing all those lights, knowing that there were thousands and thousands of people roaming that city. It was the Friday before the marathon, New York Marathon, and New York City Marathon. And there was people from all over. There were languages around me that I was hearing: Spanish, Russian, German, Czechoslovakian. I mean, just English, every language. You could hear it. Not from the ground, but up there, because tourists, I mean, come on, taking pictures and everything. Then we didn't realize that we had purchased a ticket to go to the tippity top, right? So when we came down, the young man said, well, do you guys want to go to the tippity top? And he didn't say it like that, but he said to the top. And I said, I don't know if we have the tickets for that. She took the ticket, and of course we did. So it's a smaller elevator and you can see the brick in, okay. Now I'm getting uncourageous again. But I went in there with my two colleagues. I was like, if I die, I'm not going to die alone. And we went all the way up and then went and looked. I mean, it's just all glass and it's very small up there, so that, they don't only let a certain amount of people go at a time. And I have a picture of it because I was so on fire. My whole body was mesmerized and hypnotized by the fact that I had overcome this fear of and that I was back in the place that I have loved the most. As an adult, I had the opportunity to live there for quite some time, and so I experienced it not only as a little person but as a big person. And I am an East Coast person by heart, but I love California. I love everything that I've experienced here. My children have been born here, and so this is my home right now. But my essence is New York City. So all that to tell you, overcome the things that you're afraid of. Be courageous as you move into this season. And I think I'm not going to call it the winter season, because I think that it has, most people think of the winter season as cold and to me, winter is beautiful because I do love snow and winter and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm going to say I'm going into my season of enlightenment, and not from a woo 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 goofy kind of space, but from a space of I am learning how to live with the Michelle Pope that I have created, the world has created, the universe created, because it's all coming together now. It's all coming together, and I'm going to learn to live with her. I'm going to learn to love her. I'm going to learn to live with her, and regardless of what happens, and be adventurous and courageous as I step out into this new wonderful existence in my life. Some things will have to sunset, just like there have been people who have passed away and gone before me who I have loved and love very, very much, continue to love very, very much. People and dogs that I have loved very, very much. But the season is now, the time is now, and we move into new things, and we move into them embracing them, wrapping our arms around them, and not being afraid, taking their hand in a way that is exciting and, yeah, a little bit scary. But I'm going to use that excitement to be the energy that I need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. So I hope this pondering has helped you a little bit. And here is the test to find whether or not your mission on Earth is finished. If you are alive, it isn't. Thank you, Richard Bach, for that. So remember that. You're still not done. You still got some stuff to share. You still got some things to do. And regardless of how the world talks about aging and people who are over a certain age, they don't know what they're talking about. We still have so much to give. And the people who don't know it, who cares? They don't know it. We're just going to go out and be it. And to my fashionistas out there, oh, thank you for being my muse. There's an older woman over in England that is on Facebook. You are stunning. I'm going to reach out to her and just try to find out her story. To the older woman that was a part of the park system here in California, over 100 years old, just retired. Thank you to just every person out there. Betty White, who lived her life fully until she passed away. Jimmy Carter, who until he could not physically do it anymore, was out there with Habitat for Humanity, helping to build houses for people side by side. Don't think that it's over. Again, here is the test to find whether or not your mission on Earth is finished. If you're alive, it isn't. So go out there and figure it out and make something happen. And if you're a person out there right now, the holiday seasons are happening. Last week, we had a rerun. Thank you, Audrey White, talking about some of the things that happen when we go through the holiday season for those of us that have lost people. I'm one of them. I will be experiencing that. I'm starting to have some insomnia and stuff, so I know that's where it's coming from. But you're not alone. There's somebody out there that can help you. You can pick up the phone. And just the other day, we had a caregiver that was very stressed, and the 988 hotline people patched them through to Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. I was so excited about that. That just made my day. So I know it works. I knew it worked before then, but I really know it works now. 988. If you are a caregiver that's stressed, if you're a young adult that's out there and think that nobody loves you because maybe up to this point nobody has shown you the kind of love that fuels life, 988. If you're somebody out there that feels lost and you just don't know what your next step is going to be and you think that life doesn't deserve you, 988. If you're out there being bullied by a person who has never been loved or maybe doesn't understand love or how to express love, and so the only way they can navigate the earth is by hurting somebody else and bullying someone who is different or looks different, sounds different, dresses different, all of that, 988. Do not think that you are alone. All of us here, Felicia and I, there's two of us, and Life is a Sacred Journey. We care about the universe, we care about the world, and we care about you. And we can't help you, but not the people on the end of the line at 988 can help you. And hopefully some of the content here at Life is a Sacred Journey will also lift you up and let you know you matter, because you do. You wouldn't be here because you have a mission. And your mission is to be the best person that you can be and to live another day. So I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And as you continue to go into this Thanksgiving weekend, don't spend all your money in one spot. I learned, the app that I learned about. It's called Goods Unite Us. Goods Unite Us. And this is not a political, because we don't do political here. I don't believe in it. It's too separating. But what this app does is every business, every thing you can think of, businesses, gas, everything, you can look it up and find out where they stand in the political realm and where they give their money, where they donate their money. I find it I needed it. There's a company that I will no longer shop with, but I'm telling you this because you have options, and you have options on where you spend your money. Okay? I'm not telling you this because Republican, Democrat, Independent, Greenpeace, none of that. That's not where we're going. So don't be trying to reach out to me and send me some negative gobbledygook, because back at you. I'm just saying we all should make conscious decisions what our value system is, personal value system, not telling you what yours should be, where we spend our money. And so Goods Unite Us is an app. It's free, and it can help you to make those decisions, because we should all do our research before we make decisions where we spend our money. All right. Have a good weekend. Go out into the world, hug a tree, walk on a beach. Actually, yeah, that sounds good. It might be cold, but bring your scarf. Pet a cat, pet a dog. Hug your grandbaby, hug your daughter, hug your son, hug your friend, and hug yourself. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here at Life is a Sacred Journey. Please hit the share button with other people, because we really want to now get our subscribership up and hit whatever those things are, all those benchmarks, so that we can continue this. Again, remember, I asked you, tell me if Life is a Sacred Journey is important enough to you for us to continue. And I know there'll be some people who will say no, and that's fine too. But I want to hear from you that have benefited and what you get out of it. What do you get out of it, and what would you like to see us do more of? Okay? All right. Have a great weekend. Get out there. It's cold, but the sun is out, man. It's like 43 degrees here in California. All right, you guys. Peace.